Hi friends, welcome to another video here on Sam Cooks Kindness YouTube channel. I'm Sam. I have a vegan blog and this is my YouTube channel where I talk all things health and wellness, fitness goals, and just my journey through figuring it all out. So today that I am joining you with my coffee for a little coffee chat, coffee chatter, coffee talk. We're gonna have to come up with a name of these. But basically, I just wanted to have like a really relaxed conversation with you guys, let you know a little bit about what my health goals are, what kind of things I'm doing like behind the scenes. I know I shared a couple what I eat in a day videos, but I thought maybe doing like a monthly chat about like how March went and my plans for April would be like a good look into my life. So I wanted to start with what my like general rules are that I follow on an everyday basis. So I am pretty relaxed about things. I do follow a whole food plant-based, low calorie density, kind of on the lower fat side of things, higher starch type of diet every day. And I don't really obsess over things too much. I keep things very, very easy. All my meals are super simple. But I do have a couple like non-negotiable rules that I follow. So my general rules that haven't changed since I kind of started this in October are there's a couple main ones. So my non-negotiables that I always do is daily movement of some sort. I find that if I set myself a minimum, it's easy to exceed that. So my daily minimum is always like a 20-minute walk. Usually I do more than that. I move pretty intuitively. I've been doing a lot of running, starting to incorporate more like strength training. But my minimum, no matter what, is that I know I can go out and do a 20-minute walk. So daily movement is one of my non-negotiables. Um, my other one is getting in my non-starchy veggies. So every day, without fail, I get in 2 to 3 pounds of non-starchy veggies. I know that sounds like a lot and may not be attainable for some people, but I started at 1 pound. I started small and I grew, and now I eat 2 to 3 pounds of vegetables easily every day. So that's one of my non-negotiables. So daily movement, eating my non-starchy veggies, and then the two other things that aren't so I'm not super strict about, but they are like daily goals that I have for myself just in general are I have a step goal, and that's 9,000 steps, which is usually attainable for me because I do running pretty regularly. I do run pretty regularly or walk. So it's usually attainable, but on days where I don't run, like if on certain days I do yoga and the steps are harder to get on those days, and I don't stress about it too much, but I just have it in the back of my mind that 9,000 is my step goal. And then my last thing that I do every single day is that I take pictures of my food. I don't count calories. I don't go crazy over tracking, but I do take pictures of it just so that I can look back and know like what I was eating, what's working for me, what's not working for me. And it's not a big deal, like for me at least, to just grab my phone and snap it because I'm so used to doing that. And I think a lot of us like today probably are, at least the younger like generation. I feel like we're always taking pictures of our food. So it's not a super big deal for me to do that. Oh, and another one I just thought of that I do every single day, and this may be, um, some people may not like this, but it works for me. So do what works for you, is that I step on the scale every single day. I have a tendency to, if I avoid the scale for some reason, that's when I start to get relaxed. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. So I step on the scale every single day, every single morning, and I've gotten to the point where it's not like an obsession. It's not ruining my whole entire day. So I can step on, look at the number, say, okay, great, it's up. Okay, great, it's down, and move on. And it doesn't affect the rest of my day. It doesn't affect what I eat. If the scale goes up a couple, like fluctuates, because it fluctuates a ton. If it like goes up a pound or two, I'm like, well, whatever. Like, but I'm not gonna change how I'm eating because of that. So I think it's important that if you step on the scale and you're having a really emotional reaction to it, then maybe you're not quite there yet. But for me, I can step on the scale every morning and see the number, use it as data, and move on with my life. So those are my general rules that I follow, that I've been following since October when I started this, and I'm down 17 pounds since then, following those simple rules. So that's what's continuing on for me into April. Um, let's talk about March. Um, so for March, I had some successes, I had some learning experiences, and overall, I feel pretty good about things. Coffee break. So for March, I did lose just over 2 pounds, which I was pretty happy with. It's not the most I've ever lost in a month, not the least I've ever lost in a month, but I'm just happy that the beginning or the end was lower than the beginning. So I count that as a success. And I did have a lot of things going on in March. I was out and socializing a bit more than I typically do. I'm pretty much usually a homebody, and I'm usually stuck in my routine. But in March, I did have some things. So we had Easter. If you celebrate, obviously, you know, Easter just passed. I also had a family birthday. I also went out with my sister. We had a bingo night, and we did have a couple brewery trips because we have a few very close by that we can walk to. So I had a couple times where I had to learn or I had to adapt and figure out what I was going to do, if I was going to go just all in and enjoy myself, or if I was going to go in with a plan. And ultimately, I did go in with plans for those things, and they worked pretty well. So, for example, like the birthdays, I did enjoy like some pizza. I did enjoy some birthday cake, but I also paired those things with like tons of vegetables. So I'm always looking at, if I'm going to indulge in something, I should be pairing it with like a veggie or a fruit to go with it, so that I can fill up on some lower calorie density things as I'm eating the higher calorie density, and I'm not going like out of control eating 10 pieces of pizza. Um, Whenever we went to the brewery, I went in with a plan for that, and it was usually packing like potatoes and vegetables with hummus, and then enjoying that food instead of buying from whatever food truck is there. And then I can enjoy like one or two beers with that and not feel bad about it. And then I did go out to eat. We chose to go to sushi restaurants, which is always like super easy to be compliant at. Sushi and like pho, going out for pho is like one of my favorite choices when we go out to eat, because it's easy to be compliant, and sushi is my favorite food in the whole world. Yeah, so I was really proud of myself for going into those types of experiences with a plan, letting myself have some more indulgent foods, which I've typically been pretty like strict in prior months. So in March, I definitely indulged a little bit more, but the scale still went down. So I was happy to learn that I can build some trust with myself to have a little bit more indulgent foods without just spiraling out of control. So March was a success. Yeah, so let's. This is just plain black coffee in my little mug that I painted. I took my kids out to one of those pottery places, and I painted myself a cute little mug. All right, so let's talk about April. So going forward in April, I have a couple things on my mind. I don't tend to make huge goals for myself because I'm busy. I have kids. I have lots of things going on. I do work. And so I have a lot to think about, and I don't want food to be a huge part of that. And I know this sounds like a lot, and it sounds like I'm thinking about food a lot, but I have things down to like just be such like a natural thing at this point, and so simple that I don't think about food half as much as I used to. I used to obsess over recipes. Like I needed a recipe every single night for dinner. I needed leftovers. I needed to meal prep huge, like elaborate things of food to last me through the week, which I never even wanted to finish because I got bored too fast. So it sounds like a lot, but it's not. So for April, my April goals, I don't really have any food related goals. I'm going to maintain my 2 to 3 pounds of veggies. I'm going to maintain making sure I'm filling up on those starches. I'm going to include some extra protein here and there, probably mostly tofu and beans because those are my favorites. And I am strength training, so I am incorporating a little bit more of the proteins than I typically have in the past, but not a lot, more like a topping or a side to go with things. So that's basically my food goals for April. As far as my weight goes, I would like to see it move down. It doesn't matter how much. I just want to see it be less at the end of April than it was at the beginning of April, so that I know I'm moving in the right direction. It has been very slow moving lately, but like I said, I did indulge more in March, so we'll see how April goes. Yeah, so I'll check in at the end and I'll let you know if I had any weight loss or not. Um, and then, so most of my goals for April are movement and strength related goals. I am loving seeing myself grow in my strength. It's not something I've really seen in the past. I've never been a runner. I've exercised, but it was just like food. Like I was consistent until I wasn't. And so now that I have been consistent for how many months? October, November, December, January, February, March. Going on 6 months now. So I've been consistent with my movement for over 6 months, and I feel so good. And I never thought I would say that. I never thought I'd say I was a runner. I am a runner. I'm a slow runner, but I'm a runner. And so my goals in April are all strength related. Running related goals. I have a 10K scheduled that I signed myself up in a moment of weakness in like December. I was like, yeah, I can do a 10K by April. So, and I can, but at the at the time it felt like out there. So I have a 10K scheduled for the end of April. My current farthest run was just over 5 miles, and I felt good, but I felt tired at the end of that. So I'm not worried that I won't be able to complete it, but I do want to run the whole thing, or at least like slow run the whole thing and be comfortable with it. So my running goals for April are to continue my running plan. I run like usually 5 to 6 times a week, and it's all different types. It's not all long runs. Sometimes it's like interval runs, tempo runs, endurance runs. It basically depends on what I've done the most recently. I just rotate. I don't really stick to any plan. I just kind of see what feels good. So my goal is to make sure I'm intentionally including a long run in my runs, like at least once a week until my 10K. So yeah, that should be fun. So that's my running goal. Next is my like strength goal. So I tend to find that I avoid lower body strength workouts because I do have some like knee issues from long time ago. Like as a teen, I had some injuries and it just kind of caused other problems. But so I tend to avoid strength training on the lower body, but I'm going to I have started incorporating lower body again in the form of Pilates and bar. So 3 times a week for April, I want to include a Pilates and a bar lower body focused class to try to build up my strength in my knees without feeling it the next day. I want all my movement to feel good. All my movement is very intuitive. I use Peloton in my basement. I have a like crappy old treadmill that I use, and I have some weights and I have some mats, and that's basically the extent of my supplies that I have. So I use what I have. I look through the Peloton app and I see what feels good on that day. So I'm just going to be a little bit more intentional about making sure that I'm getting in those 3 lower body workouts every week to try to see how my strength goes, as well as upper body, because I have been feeling super strong and I like seeing improvements in like the length of time I can hold a plank or like do different moves. And yeah, it's just cool. It's just cool seeing improvement over time when you realize where you came from. And then I think I already said, as far as the scale goes, I just want to see it move down. I'd love to see it down another 2 pounds. But as long as it moves down, I'm going to be happy. And then lastly for April, this is kind of sad. So I go to a yoga class in my community every Wednesday morning while my kids are in school. It's kind of like my socialization. Like my socialization a lot of the times is just with children. So my yoga class is like when I get to talk to some like adults. So I love my yoga class, and I got some bad news that my studio that I go to is closing at the end of this month. And so I need to figure out what I'm going to do for that. I don't want to do the yoga on Peloton by myself in the basement because there was that like socialization aspect of things that I'm going to be losing. So I need to look around and figure that out. And it's really a bummer because it was very affordable. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to find another studio that's that affordable. So my April goal is to make it to the last few classes they have before they close and find a new place to go. So, yeah. Well, those are my goals for April. I'd love to hear what yours are down below. Let me know how your March went. If it went well, if it didn't go so well, let me know. Let me know what your goals are for April. I'd love to hear from you. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel so you never miss one, and check out my blog for free vegan recipes. It was great chatting with you today. See you next time.